Honey, where are my pants?
Studs!
Okay,
Well,
hold up.
hello everyone and welcome to Where Are My Studs, the podcast. My name is Brendan,
And I'm Aidan.
and this is just a brand new podcast to talk about all things Lego, past, present, future, even non-Lego sometimes. Just a quick introduction. My online alias, I guess, is Jedi Bob. I've been in the Lego community since 2008. Did stop motion, has done very small amount of mock building, and currently I like to make retro Lego reviews.
My online alias is Adoyer. That's Adorier. And I've been in the Lego space since 2016 about. I started off doing Lego photography, then moved into Marvel stop motion, and then got the Star Wars mock building. And now I kind of just dabble in everything. But my main thing that I do post online is mock building. And I've been into Lego since about 2008, I'd say. Maybe even 2007, when I was 3 or 4 years old.
Just a generalization of what this podcast will hopefully bring is it's not necessarily Lego news or Lego life or anything like that. It's more of our just opinions on the product, opinions on how people collect. Is it still a kid's toy like this episode? But we also want to have guests on and just ask more niche, fun questions than other podcasts are doing. One of our first topics here, and the topics are going to be kind of loose, so if we go on a tangent, please don't say anything. Person that can't talk. Our first thing is Lego still meant for kids? This is a topic that feels like it gets thrown around a little bit, is like, one of the arguments to like helmet holes or cloth waist capes or stuff like that is people say Lego's just a kid's toy, and then the other half will be like, no, it's not. So, Aidan, I'm curious to first get your opinion on how do you feel like as Lego is currently in 2024? Is it still just a children's toy?
So, do we want to go, like, case by case here? Or, like, do we want to just give our overall, like... Because I can go pretty deep on this.
Yeah, you can go deep into it. Like, there's like so many tangents you can go off of because it's like, in one sense, okay, if it's not a kid's toy, why don't they start making Breaking Bad?
Yep.
Or The Walking Dead? Like, it's if you're gonna put 18 plus on the box, what's the point of making it family friendly?
That's
and
fair.
On top of that, Lego recently has really delved into these IPs that aren't family friendly anymore. Aiden, you probably might not remember this, but like when Lego Simpsons came out in 2014. It was super controversial. Like, The Brick Show had made a video where he literally talked about how he's like, oh, I don't know about The Simpsons being made into Lego. I wouldn't let my kids watch it, which is all ironic because they made Lego Indiana Jones, but that's another conversation.
I don't know. I wouldn't let my kids watch Simpsons, personally, but...
Yeah,
but
would you let your kids watch Big Bang Theory?
I mean, no, because it sucks, but...
Okay, yeah, I agree with you.
Sorry,
all
all 4 Big Bang Theory fans that I just offended, but...
If anyone here watches Young Sheldon or Big Bang Theory, I'm going to ask you to stop listening.
Okay, Big Bang Theory, I will say this, though. Sheldon is, like, kind of makes the show somewhat watchable sometimes. Like, I can deal with his character, and his stuff is funny, so I'll give it credit there, at least, But...
I don't want to talk about Big Bang
This
Theory
is
more than
quite
we
the
have
tangent
to.
already. But, okay, so, do you want me to start going case by case?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, delve deep into it. Just like, is Lego meant for kids currently?
So, I think the area I really want to hone in on first is Lego Star Wars, because that's where I've seen the most debate, especially when it comes to clone troopers. And I think Lego says, for Star Wars at least, it says that it's still made for kids. But the way that they go about it is very contradictory, I feel like. If you look at the output for this year for Star Wars, okay, I actually don't know this number off the top of my head, but how many of the sets do you think are 18 plus sets versus play sets?
I would say at least 25% of them are 18 plus.
This year, 33% have been released with the 18 plus label. So I don't.
That's stupid.
I think that's too much. Like, I actually really like the ideas of dioramas because it's, let's be honest, what the dioramas are. It's a way for people who suck at mock building to have a cool mock on their shelf. That's honestly what it is. And I say this owning 3 diorama sets and also being a mock builder. So I'm roasting myself in that too. But that's really all they are, is a mock. It's it's not a set that you really get much playability out. Like, I don't see how a kid can buy the Dagobah set, the training one with Luke and Yoda in it, and get play out of that. Like, you can like move the figures around on the base plate to recreate scenes, but you're not going to be like having a battle. You're not going to be like training Luke on that. So that to me is a set that like I'm not going to buy for a kid.
I don't own the set. How accessible is the interior to Yoda's hut on that set? Because it doesn't look very like easy to get into.
It's hella small. Like, I haven't opened it, but I've seen it on the back of the box art, and like you can barely fit 2 figs in that, from what I'm seeing. And then I think the Starship collection, even beyond that, is like so not kid focused, because like.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
The Starship collection is like, I cannot stand that.
Really?
People like the micro scales or the mid scale. I hate it. It's the worst thing in the world. You know, and it makes me mad because like, you know how long we've waited for like an invisible hand playset?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true, I guess. I don't know.
I don't like it. It's just like, as a kid, like even not as a kid, I'm a big interior guy, so like my opinion is super biased, but I can't stand them personally. I hate those sets.
So what I think, you already probably know this about me, but what you listeners will find me is I don't have very black and white opinions when it comes to stuff like this. And I think the Starship collection works for certain things. Like, I think having it for the Super Star Destroyer is perfect. Because, like, yeah, that's either going to be a $650 set or it's going to be a $70 like midi scale set. And that's like made for like people who don't want to freaking like spend a Hawaiian vacation to have a Star Wars set in their living room. And I think it's fine for stuff like that. And honestly, even the Invisible Hand, I think it's fine for. I think it's absolutely inexcusable, though, that like you're not releasing a normal Tantive 4 for kids who want that. Because I know when I was a kid, I wanted a Tantive 4 because I looked at it in the books that we had, and I thought it looked cool. But like an $80 one being on the shelf that has no interior, no nothing, I don't rock with that. The Millennium Falcon, I don't care because there's always the Millennium Falcon on shelf. So I think it kind of is a case-by-case basis. And, like, even if it was just, like, 1 per year, like, I think that would be actually great. Like, just, like, 1 per year. But, like, releasing 3 in a wave, like, when it's half the wave, that's way too much.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's kind of, I guess, where I come from is, again, the midi-scale stuff is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also the fact that the dioramas plus midi scale plus the big buildable droids is like half a wave. Not always, but it's a big part of the wave.
Yep.
And it's just it's getting ridiculous in my opinion. And I don't hate dioramas 100%. I have a mixed feelings about them.
Yeah.
You have some dioramas that I think are great because they're just play sets. Mm-hmm. The Jurassic Park T-Rex Escape. I think that was a solid 18 plus set. Mm-hmm. I think the Indiana Jones 18 plus Temple for the Golden Idol. That's a amazing set. But then you get these other 18 plus sets that I just think they would be better as bigger play sets, or not bigger play sets, but less detailed, more fun, such as the Yoda's hut. That's a good one. Another one. Emperor's Throne Room. I don't think that's a good 18 plus set. I think it looks really good, but I don't think I think that would work way better as a playset, which it has.
Mm-hmm. My thing is like, I don't actually like really have a problem with these in their concept. I have a problem with it in its quantity. Like, if we're like releasing 2 of these per year, great. And that also, like, if it's for collectors, that makes them so much more collectible than if you're releasing like what was it? It was 5, 6 already, and we're not even halfway through the year. Like, if these are meant for adult collectors who are like trying to get them all, like that's the whole point of collecting, is to have it all. Usually, it's just not really worth it to be buying 3 dioramas on release day. Like, there should be like, here's for each release day, it should be like, here's a microfighter for kids who like a chore money set, and then here's like a battle pack. Here's like a $40 to $50 set. Here's like a bigger play set, and then here's a ship, here's a diorama. Like that is a perfect release day because it has something for everyone. And now I think Lego really is like, all right, so we're gonna appeal to the adults that have money because that's actually gonna bring us a ton of income. And honestly, it's a genius business move. Like I don't even really blame Lego for doing what they're doing. And then we're gonna appeal to the little kids who have very little money. Like if you look at this year's waves, that's what it's been. It's been like the $30 Cluncher Battle Pack, the $20 Mandalore Battle Pack, the diorama, or not the diorama. It's kind of a diorama, but the Tanda 4 set, which actually I think we could talk about that one more in depth, because that's basically a diorama set, but it's also a play set. Like that's Star Wars' version
and
of
it's
the
also
Indiana
at a
Jones
mid-price
set.
range, which I love.
Like people say $55 is a lot, but I've also realized this: people are stuck in 2016 prices and sometimes even 2012 prices when they're like, I paid this much for this set as a kid. And usually when I ask people like, okay, so like what do you think it should be, and then you inflation adjust it, like $55 today is probably $40 in 2012, which I think, like if I saw this on shelves as a kid, I think, oh, that's a $30 to $40 set. So I actually don't think it's grossly overpriced, especially throwing in that fives figure, which is not as bad as people say it is. And I know
It's not.
people are going to get upset about that, but like, I don't know. I think that's a perfect example of like, if you want to appeal to adults and to kids, do more sets like this. Like that's sets that like, also like this is sets that like are encouraging people, because like Lego at its core is encouraging people to be creative and to like build their own worlds and to take something and make something new. And I think that's like a really valuable thing that goes far beyond the actual product. Because if you're looking for a product that's just like, how close is this to the source material and I want to put it together, why are you not buying scale models? Why are you not buying action figures? Like you're building Lego to ultimately take it apart or change it or redesign it or like personalize it. And I've seen lots of people with this Tanda 4 boarding set go ahead and add another one onto the end and like make their own little longer scene or like widen it or like make a full complete hallway. Like people are modding the set, and it's actually like making people be creative and not just build the set, put it on a shelf and never touch it again. But this is like one of the best sets for Lego Star Wars that we've got. It's not one of the best Lego Star Wars sets. That's a completely different thing. It's one of the best sets we've got for Lego Star Wars because of how much play it encourages, and it also can appeal to the adult collectors. So I think if Lego was doing more stuff like this, people wouldn't have a problem. But when you're dropping 5 to 6 18+ sets in half a year's wave, that's just too much.
You touched on something that me and you, like, I think it was almost the genesis of us wanting to start the podcast, was Aidan brought up to me. He came over, he flew into Atlanta and came over to my house for a little bit, and he saw my shelves. Yeah. And my shelves at the time were just cluttered with like it looked like Duck Bricks' basement. I like Duck Bricks, but I don't like his display. Aiden's like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, what? It's just all the Lego sets. He's like, yeah, but like you can't even see half of them. They're just stuck in the shelves. And I was like, yeah, but you know, I like the sets. And he's like, and me and him had this interesting conversation where, what's the point of having all this Lego if you don't really appreciate it? Why not just sell half the sets that you don't really care about, you just have because you have, and then buy stuff that might cost more but you appreciate more? And it's something that really spoke to me. And that same weekend, we ended up driving down to Atlanta Brickco twice, and I sold off like a third of my collection and got a ton of money and ended up buying a few sets that I adore now, like the Daily Bugle and this is a really niche Lego set, but the Emperor's Fortress from the ninja theme from the 90s. And those sets now sit very proudly displayed and appreciated. And I think me and you also talked about this with Indiana Jones, when the new Indy sets. Spoiler alert for anyone listening to this, me and him, especially me and our friend Ethan, freaking love Indiana Jones and Lego Indiana Jones. More than life itself, at least for me. But we were talking, and the new Indy sets to me and him were like sets that they were great because you would just go look at them. Like, I built it, and day after day, including currently, I still go over there at least like maybe once a day or once every other day and look at the sets or fidget with it or something. And I think that speaks to a really good Lego set. But I think it's also a little subjective because anyone can view any set that way. But I think it's important, and this is turning into more of less, I guess, criticizing like And I mean, you can collect however you want, but I don't really
Yeah.
understand why people collect in the way just to hoard Lego sets. I much prefer having sets that can be properly displayed, and I genuinely love them and like to go over and look at them. And it completely changed how I collected.
I feel like I can sense a tangent coming into like, what's the point of Lego collecting? So I want to get this in before we get into that. Um, for the Indiana Jones sets, I texted you after I got it. That's the first time I went to a Lego store release day since I was a kid, because like that's how excited I was for those sets. When I got the Well of Souls set, and I built it, and I got like a month's use out of that thing, and it's $40. That's already way cheaper than it usually would be in modern Lego prices, and like you could find it everywhere for $36 for the past year. Like it's one of the best deals for a Lego set ever, and in my opinion, one of the best Lego sets of all time. And that's somebody who like adores old Lego Indiana Jones, and I think it's better than almost every old Lego Indiana Jones set. But
Yeah.
like,
Oh, it 100% is.
there's so much. It gives you all the characters that you need for that scene, and even more. Like honestly, I could have done without the Mummy minifigure, but you get to go ahead and just like set up like 4 different scenes from that movie if you want. You get to like, it's a fun playset for kids. Like I can't tell you how many times I've pushed over the Okay, Brendan, you're an Indiana Jones nerd more than me. What's the name of the black statue on it?
The Statue of Anubis.
Yep, I've pushed that thing over into the wall so many times because it's just fun to have it happen. And then, like, with the snakes around, like, that's a set as a kid I would have got so much play out of. And then also, you buy it, and you have your Indiana Jones and your Marion and your Sala. Like, you really don't need much more to as an Indiana Jones fan if you just want to buy, like, one set.
Yeah, I've always had like this weird way of viewing Lego sets, of like what makes I've always had this discussion with my friends, what makes a perfect Lego set. And this is subjective, but to me, I always kind of had this weird test where as a kid, a lot of the Lego sets I got when I was at my grandmother's house. I was like staying a few days. And the reason I kind of could view if a set was really good is if I get this set, can I have a ton of fun with just this one set? And obviously not every set needs to be this, because you got to have TIE Fighters and X-Wings, which are just, they kind of have to have each other. But like, man, the Well of the Souls, as a kid, you get that set, you could play with it for hours. You don't need anything else. And if you have other stuff, it's even better, obviously. But just the Well of the Souls, it works so well. It's a big, big base. It's a play set. You have 4 really good figures. So you can have Indy and Sala go on an adventure, or you could have Indy and Marion, or, Marion and Sala. You could do a bunch of different mismatches. I just think that set passes that test of, like, any kid could get this, and if it's their first Lego set, they're going to be set for a while. And not to overblow how great the new Indy line was, which in my opinion it was really good, I also think the other 2 sets passed that test. The plane chase, perfect. And also the value for that plane.
No, I'm sorry.
What?
Having a stickered windshield should not be happening in the year of our Lord 2024. That should no longer be on Lego sets,
I
putting
agree with
stickers
that,
on
but
windshield. So
if we're just talking about the actual
9.5
set,
out of 10. Yeah, fine. But I will not let perfect be associated with that set, because that part of it just
I
love
that
I came
set.
to that part. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And then I put it on wrong, and I was like, "Well, this set's gonna look kind of ugly from certain angles." But yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
Well, I still love the set, and I think it's great. The 3 figures are fantastic. The 2 vehicles is wonderful. And then the Golden Idols, obviously, like, I don't really have to say much on that. Everyone knows that's like a really perfect set. But I just feel like we don't get enough of those type of sets that the Well of Souls is. I feel like too much now are we getting these. You can only get that type of set that gives you a really good value. And I'm not talking about like the actual pieces or anything like that, but the value of characters, playability, what the actual location / vehicle is. I feel like too much of those have to be expensive now for them to be, I don't want to say good, but smaller sets now are too often And I consider a small set $50 under. And I will say, though, the new Mandalorian... What's that new Mandalorian set they just released?
The Paz Vizsla set.
That
The
set
$40 one?
is incredible.
Yep, I agree. I almost bought it, and I think that scene kind of even isn't great. But
yeah,
the ability to combine that set. Oh my gosh,
that's so cool.
I freaking love it. That introduces kids to. One, it also is like, hey, mom and dad bought me this $40 set, and in the instruction booklet it says I can combine it with this $20 set. That's a goal I can work towards. I do the dishes for a few weeks. I can buy that set. That's great for that, for one thing. The other thing is that's introducing, hey, if I combine these Lego sets together, I get a bigger scene. What happens if I start doing that with other sets? And what happens if I start maybe even taking this apart and modifying it to more of my liking? It introduces the idea of hey, combine your Lego, take the Lego apart, rearrange it. That's another reason I really like it. But also for $60 you're getting 8 figures. And for Star Wars, that's really good. And the door is great. And that's a thing. You mentioned this when we texted about it. You said you'd be using that in your Lego stop motions if you were a kid. The crates it comes with is great. And then even for adults, this is another one where you can buy it and put it on display. This and the Tana 4, I think, is if Lego wants to start catering towards adults more, release a few of the black boxes. I think they're cool. I think they're fine. But if you really want to start catering towards adults and kids, introduce more sets like this, the Paz Vizsla and Moff Gideon battle, and the boarding the Tana 4.
If you... Okay, this is going to sound kind of crazy, but you were talking about the ability to reconstruct sets and encouraging that. What theme did that super well was Minecraft, back in the older Minecraft sets specifically. Those sets literally would have so many alternate builds on the back. And I'm talking about the original 2014 sets. And this is going to get all nostalgic, but do you miss alternate builds on the box?
I was just going to, I want a tangent on this. So my brother, for his high school graduation, we got him the 2006 Batcave sealed in box. Got it for half the price that it's worth. So that's one reason we could afford it. And as he was building it, he got to any instructions, and there was all these alternate builds at the back. And I was like, what the heck? This is an actual Lego set. This is something that is supposed to be taken apart and rearranged and redone. And do you remember in 2002 what Lego would put on all of their packaging?
No.
I say, do you remember when I was even born until 2004 and you were born in 2002? But besides that, it was Just Imagine. Just Imagine.
Oh yeah, I remember the Star Wars commercials. Well,
yep.
so it's all ironic. Even as a kid, I wasn't super big into taking apart my sets. Typically I was pretty happy with the product. I would modify them sometimes, but I still think I like when it's encouraged. I'm actually interested on your opinion on this, Aidan. Do you like how specialized sets have become? You get a Millennium Falcon. When you get a Millennium Falcon right now, you can't rebuild that to whatever you want. Or it's at least a lot more difficult than it was in 2001.
So, actually, funnily enough, me and my coworkers at Jimmy John's talked about this, which is a really weird place to have a Jimmy John's, or to have a Lego conversation in a Jimmy John's. So I was talking about my Lego collection, and one of the girls, that's one of my coworkers, brought up the fact, she's like, yeah, I looked at a Lego set and it doesn't even look like Lego anymore. She's like, all the pieces are so small, and I remember back when I was building sets as a kid, it was here are the 40 different pieces Lego has, and they're rearranging them to kind of look like this thing. It doesn't look like a one-to-one recreation. And I was like, she kind of has a point. Lego getting so small with all their parts has been fantastic for mock builders, and I've seen if you look at mocks from 2016 that people consider to be amazing versus now, it is night and day. For mock builders, them changing up the pieces is great. For kids, I don't think as much, because if you take your set apart, you have all these 1x1 round plates and all these modified 1x2 plates and all these modified tiles and all these weird slope pieces. It's not as great for kids, I think, but for mock builders, it's actually better. which I think like selfishly I prefer it being better for mock builders because I also build mocks myself. But as it should be better for kids to like take apart sets and use those pieces. Like for crying out loud, my brother in 2013 bought the Republic gunship, and he took that thing almost entirely apart. I still don't know why, because I feel like that's a set that you like don't take apart as a kid. But like even back then, like he was compelled to take that set apart and make something out of it. And if like almost can't imagine somebody doing that with like an ATT or a Republic gunship nowadays. You know.
But so like where do you think that line is though? Like where, because I also at the same time though go, yeah, Lego should not have stayed in 2002. Like Lego needed to evolve, and I think I where at what point did they hit the right spot with it? With enough where it's still Lego-y, but it looks good.
I would say I feel like 2016, and I think of the Rogue One wave of Lego sets, because everybody considers all those sets.
I was seriously thinking of the same exact thing.
The same exact wave, even.
Yeah, I was thinking about Rogue One.
That's crazy. So it is almost universally like agreed upon that all those sets are fantastic and like the best renditions of each of those ships that we've had yet. But the pieces aren't nearly as specialized as they are nowadays, or nearly as small. Like they're like a perfect in between of like 2007 Lego Star Wars and modern Lego Star Wars. And that might be because it's almost halfway. Like that just makes sense. But like that was, I remember those sets came out in 2016, and that's when you started seeing mock building like really picking up, because like that's when like a lot more specialized pieces were getting invented. So I think that is honestly like the perfect combination of like old Lego, new Lego, because like obviously Lego has to evolve. If Lego is still stuck in what they were doing in the 1980s, they'd be out of business. Like, it's just a bad business model to do nothing. Well, yeah, exactly. So then they had to come up with Bionicle, which is entirely different from what they were doing. It's like Lego's going to continue to adapt and evolve and change. And there is this desire in us to like be like, wait, this is different. I don't like it. It's different. But I think there is also something to be said about like there's a reason for it. And I think the kids who are growing up with Lego nowadays, they're going to have a different experience than we did. But I think they're still going to be just fine, even though like the pieces are like a lot more specialized. And I think if anything, it might like result in like them being more meticulous about their builds, or like being even like there's even more opportunities for creativity. Like you see like a paint handle, which I think is a recently introduced piece. And if I'm wrong, then this is kind of a moot point. But like, they see like a paint handle, like, oh, that would work well as a ship engine, because they see it being used on a Star Wars set for that. So
yeah, that's true.
I think it's going to be a different type of creativity you see going forward of like, I need a massive wall. Here, let's going to take all these 2x4 bricks and stack it up. I think it's just going to be a lot more like different type of play experience almost.
Well, like, I want to get into something it's Lego related, but almost not. I'm curious, like, what you think, like, Lego's going to do going forward, because it's so obvious that, and I hate it because I'm an old man, I guess, but it's very obvious that kids are not into toys as much as they were when we were kids, simply because of YouTube and the internet. I mean, kids were already getting into video games when we were children, but now it's that dialed up to 11. And I'm interested to see. I mean, kids are still into toys. Don't get me wrong, but like it's not to the level all toy companies have seen. Besides Lego, have been losing sales. Have been going down in value. It's why when you go to the toy aisle at Target, like there's only 6-inch Star Wars figures and there's barely any on the shelf. The only toy aisle that's any good anymore is Lego.
So I think there's two ways to look at this. Like one, like what is Lego doing to combat this, and why is Lego kind of sustaining this? So Lego is very smart marketing wise. Like you can like hate them all you want, you can not like the product, you cannot disagree with the fact that they're extremely smart marketing wise, especially in the past 20 years. They're going out and meeting the kids where they're at, because I don't think the problem is that kids don't want to play with Lego. It's getting them introduced to Lego. So like with the Lego Fortnite collab, that is like one of the most smart things they've done in a long time because that's where like little kids are.
Wait, do you know what that reminds me of?
What?
It was like, it's very similar. I literally watched a video on this earlier. It's very similar to how Lego Batman, when it first came out, did not sell at all. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a juggernaut. Then the video came out, and there was no sets on the shelves. So when they reintroduced it in 2012, it sold really well. They came, and I'm just saying I agree with you, but it's similar to what happened in 2008 when they started making the video games, and then all the kids were playing the video games, which therefore made them want the product.
Yeah, and I think video games, like, that's what kids are nowadays. And the thing is, the desire for storytelling and, like, taking part of the role as a character is what action figures used to, like, sell themselves on. And now, like, you can hop on, like, Jedi Fallen Order and literally play as a Jedi fighting stormtroopers. Like, So I think that's why you see action figures falling behind right now. Whereas for Lego is all about creating, and like you even get to create your own environment. It's why like in like every successful kids game that we really see, that aspect is introduced. Like Minecraft. Like Minecraft has held on for so long because it's literally just it's video game Lego. Like that's all Minecraft really is at its core. Like there's more to it than that, but like at its core, that is the appeal of Minecraft. And then even Fortnite has its creative mode where people like literally get to like make their own maps and everything. So I think there is always going to be that desire. And I think by going and meeting the kids where they already are and like already doing that stuff and be like, hey, here's another way to do this. And then you have the parents who don't want their kids to be on their screens the entire day. And then it's like, hey, here's Lego. So I think Lego's going to be fine. I think it's going to hold on, and it's going to continue to hold on for a bit. And I think by reaching into the adult markets, they're going to be super fine for a long time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I could, this is all pure speculation, but I almost could see Lego and all toy companies. Okay, I got two opinions real quick. I'm going to just say one real quick. I think another reason why action figures don't sell anymore is because action figures suck now. They're bad. For some reason, action figure companies decided to stop making vehicles and play sets and only making figures. Spoiler alert, Star Wars, you kind of have to have the vehicles and play sets with it. This kind of loops back around to my love for Lego as a kid till now. Lego is so freaking cool because as a kid, I can have SpongeBob fight Darth Vader and it's completely seamless. Everything looks the same. It's all compatible. And as a kid, it killed me because I liked wrestling figures. My brother liked wrestling figures. My brother liked Star Wars figures. Like my brother liked Marvel, DC. But you couldn't play with them all together. And on top of that, I always noticed with the superhero figures, you just get the superheroes. Where's the city buildings that they are saving civilians from? Well, spoiler alert, they don't exist. Another reason why Lego was just out of the park is I need a bank. I can go buy the Lego City Bank, and then I can buy a Batman set, and I can combine the two. And that's something that Lego is goated at, is just the fact that they have such a wide variety of products and they all work together, every single set. One from 1980 will work just as well with the ones from 2022. And that's just such an incredible thing. It's why I love Lego.
Well, and Lego's super, super aware of this. Like, you look at the Lego movie even, like, that was combining Batman, construction figures, and they even threw in like Star Wars. They threw in Castle. They threw in Wizard, like Town.
They threw in Shaq, right? Or was it LeBron? I don't know.
Yeah,
they threw in
it was Shaq. I totally forgot about that. They threw in freaking Shaquille O'Neal with
Y'all
Batman.
Ain't ready for this.
Yeah, legendary. That movie's 10 years old too, which is crazy to me because I remember
such a
seeing that
good
in theaters.
movie though.
Oh, it's top 10, and like even if I like could put my love for Lego aside, it's like objectively still like a top 10.
That's a hilarious movie.
So just to bring it back around to is Lego still for kids? I think one of the things you really have to talk about in that is like what is like the purpose of Lego and why does it still have an appeal to us as we get older as adults? And I think you have to look at why did it surge in the last few years. And I've always told people I think it's because of COVID. I don't know what your take is on that. But I think Lego is treated as an escape for adults more than a creativity thing. So first, I want to know what you think about that before I go deeper on that.
I feel like I have I'm not going to say unique, but I have a different reason for why I love Lego. I love Lego just because I love toys in general, even though I don't really collect any other toys. I like toys. I like action figures. I just think having a physical product that's real, that's in front of you, that you can move is just awesome compared to, and I love video games as well, but like it's just so much better than anything else. It's better than clothes. It's just something about having a property that I love. It's cool to have a physical representation of it, and it's even cooler when it's Lego and it interconnects with anything else, and I can customize it, I can build it, I could make unique stuff for it. That's the reason I love Lego personally.
I would say, for me, I really like the malleability of it. Like, for example, in the 2020 AT-AT that came out, or AAT, the one with the Ahsoka Trooper, you know, the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, they got a lot of hate.
Yep. So everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, the gun is way too long," and then I was like, "Okay, so, take the piece off, and then you make it a little shorter, and then it looks good." And that's what I did with mine. And like now, I really like how it looks.
I did the same thing.
Yep. So, all like Lego purists who are like, "All right, I'm just gonna go out and buy this set and put it on the shelf, and that is the entire purpose of having it." That's when I'm like, you make it your own. Set up like a little scene. Don't just put all your figures in bags and toss them away. Like,
my God, I hate that.
It's perfectly fine to want to display some of your sets. Like, that is perfectly fine. But when that is 100% of what you are doing, you are like, let's just call it what it is. You are buying plastic bricks, putting them together, and then putting them on a shelf to just look at until you die. And I feel like you make your own choices, but I feel like that is a waste of your money, for one, because like you buy the UCS Falcon and you buy the UCS Venator. These are both sets that I really want too. So like I'm like I can understand it, but that is over. No, I think that is exactly $1,500 before tax. You can buy round trip tickets to like anywhere, like almost anywhere, for pretty close to that, I'd say. Unless you're going somewhere.
You could literally go to Japan with that money.
Yep. And like I understand some people don't like traveling and stuff. Then if you're struggling to make payments on your house, don't buy the UCS vendor. Like if you have extra money left over, you're like, I literally don't know what to do with this. And also here's the thing, like I'm 20. I'm through my second year of college. I don't know what it's like to come home after a 40-hour work week and be just absolutely exhausted and coming home to your family. And maybe like building Lego is like the only way that you really get to chill out. And if it's that, I respect it. But if you're just using it as like a way to just like be looking forward to the next thing, 'cause that's also the other thing with a lot of collectors, is it's all about just getting the next thing. It is never about actually enjoying what you have. And like it's always about getting it for as cheap as you can, and like it's just get. And I'm actually really saddened by the way this community has gone, and I'm even guilty of like all the stuff that I say. Like I'm also guilty of
everyone's
too,
a hypocrite
in some aspect. Yeah, basically. So now I just don't have the disposable income to be fully hypocritical about it. But like if you look at old Lego YouTube, like what was old Lego YouTube? It was stop motions.
What are we talking about old?
Building. I'm talking like okay, yeah, that's true. Like I'm talking like 2010, like early 2010s. Like
clone armies.
Yeah, clone armies. You had the set reviews, but it wasn't like welcome to my Lego room. Here's all of my white IKEA shelves with the same Star Wars sets that everybody has right now because they're all out on the shelves. And like that's if you scroll through Instagram Reels at all on a Lego account, that is like all you're really gonna see.
Oh yeah,
and like
that's true.
I feel like that's almost like created like this sense in like everybody that I talk to in the Lego community. It's like, oh, I don't have enough. Like I need more, and I like sense myself even falling into that. Sometimes I have to be like, wait, like I have more than enough. I can make my own things out of this, and that's what Lego is for. I don't need Lego's version of everything. I can make my own Lego version of it sometimes.
You know something else that I've noticed is whenever I ask 75% of people that we meet at conventions, like, oh, what are your favorite sets? A lot of those lists are exactly the same. Oh, the UCS Falcon, the Daily Bugle, like just these post 2015 18 plus sets.
Yep.
Like no one ever says, oh, the Space Police, like, I don't know, Dr. Brick Daddy's limo. I don't know what the Space Police sets are, but you
Space
get what
Police
I'm saying.
is overrated. Space Police is overrated, but continue.
I agree. But like you get what I mean. Like I noticed that I feel like the modern popularity of Lego has brought in a lot of the same type of person, which is they like all the 18 plus expensive sets because they're expensive and they're big and they look fancy. No one has like, someone asked me my favorite set. Aidan, do you know what my favorite set is?
It's gonna be an Indiana Jones one.
It's the 2008 Boulder Escape. I call it the Boulder Escape, Temple Escape. Yeah. Nobody would say that's their favorite set because it's an ugly, yellow looking thing. Like, it's disgusting, but it's a great, it's a fun play set, and it's just like I wish we had more people that appreciated that. This all kind of comes around to appreciating Lego, and again, anyone can do whatever they want. This is just my 2 cents. This is just your 2 cents, but like, I feel like people need to appreciate what they're buying rather than go, I'm getting the $800 set because it's big and it's from the property I like. But once I put it on the shelf, I'll never think about it again. Mm-hmm. And like, I agree with you. It's almost to me, it seems like a waste of money. Now, some people buy the sets just to build them, and that's on you. In my opinion, become a mock builder at that point. But
yeah.
But I mean, it's just like
that's fine. Like that's fine sometimes. Like I'm just saying when it's like 100% of what you're doing.
But that's a lot of people I see. That's 100%.
Yeah. No, 100%.
If that's part of what you do, that's fine. I agree. I mean, I've done it. And I used to be really bad about it, but I think more people need to just, when they get the set, like, appreciate it. I don't know. I mean, this is just plastic bricks, so like it's kind of not getting deep here, but like I don't like how, I agree with you. I don't like how it's almost like trading cards, which is just get the next pack, get the next pack, get the next pack, keep getting. And it's like, Lego's not cheap. It's not cards.
Nope. This
is big models with figures. And I think there should be more of an appreciation for it. Every time I build a set, I don't put it on the shelf for the first week. That's because like it sits. I swear to God, it sits on the table I built it in, or built it on, which is right behind me. Every day I'm overlooking at that thing, or I'm just talking about it to my girlfriend, or taking pictures of it. Ever since I've sold off a ton of my collection, I take so much more value in the sets I get. But that's also because I only get sets that I really, really want. I don't buy. I used to be the type of person that went, oh my God, the 501st are in a set. I don't care about that anymore. Because here's the deal. I'm never going to look at the 501st ever again. This is a separate topic that we should talk about in another episode. But
yeah, because I have a take on that that's different from you. But
then I was going to talk about clone armies. Not talk about it now, but I'm saying clone armies I have a very controversial opinion about. I feel like Lego Star Wars is especially an offender of this, but it's always about...
That's because there's so much of Lego Star Wars. It's actually insane how much we are getting. Like, we used to not... we got nowhere near this amount of sets.
Yeah.
In the past.
Yeah, I'm just kind of repeating myself here, but...
Yeah. I'd say to you listener, if you, like, have tuned out and, like, completely understandable, but if, like, you're really going to take one thing away from this podcast, it would be this, like... You don't need to have everything. And, like, if you have more than, like, 10 Lego sets, the amount that you have is already more than enough. Like, I encourage you to actually use your Lego instead of just putting it on a shelf. And that's not me, like, stepping on a high horse, but, like, I do this all the time. I haven't posted my Instagram account in 2 years. Like, I'm also, like, kind of lazy about it sometimes because it's a lot easier to just build the set, put it on a shelf. But, like, go out, do toy photography with it. Go out and go ahead and make a mock with it. Even if you think you're bad at mock building. Yeah, stop motion. Like, the point of these things is not to be good at it. Like, recently I've noticed, ever since like social media's come along, we no longer just enjoy things because they're fun. We have to be good at it. Like, we have to be good at dancing. We have to be good at singing. Like, you can't just do something because you enjoy the process of it. Like, just do stop motions because you enjoy the process of it. Enjoy mock building because you do the process of it. And like, comparison is the thief of joy. Like, if you are constantly comparing your mocks to others, your stop motions to others, your collection to others, it is never going to be good enough. And going on and just trying to keep riding the high of getting the next set because you feel like, oh, this one's going to fill me up. Oh, this one's going to fill me up. Like, it's just not. And I think collecting is fun. Collecting is fine. But the obsessive nature that some people go to, like, take a breath, enjoy your Lego, be creative with it, and I think you'll get a lot more fulfillment out of it than if you just build it and put it on a shelf.
And I think it's also, you don't even have to do toy photography. It's also, if
No,
with the sets you have, if you just rearrange the figures every once in a while, it's the paying attention to the money you spent and making sure you got a good value. Because in my opinion, there's not value into just throwing this set on a shelf and knowing that you have it, and that's all it ever gets.
like, I'm a broke college student. I'm saving up money to be able to pay for dorm expenses this summer. So I have not bought a Lego set in the last month and a half. And what that's forced me to do is go through my collection and start finding pieces to old sets that I had as a kid and like part them back together. But it's also made me think about like really intentional, like, okay, if I do go out and buy a Lego set, what am I going to buy and why am I going to buy it? And honestly, like, I think the next set I'm going to buy is the Rex Microfighter because I can see myself using that in so many mocks, setting that up in so many scenes. And that's a $13 set where I'm basically just buying the minifigure. So, like, just be very intentional with your purchases. Don't just be like, oh, I think the $600 set looks really cool and I have the money, so I'm going to spend it. Like, think about it. Like, what am I going to get out of this set? Am I going to build it with somebody who's also building a set? Like, I try to buy a lot of my Lego when I'm out at conventions or out with friends because, like, another really cool thing is, like, having memories attached to these sets. And, like, yeah, I could, like, if I wanted to right now, I could go out and buy the Rex Microfighter at a Target or, like, go out and buy the Clone Battle Pack because I actually just want to see what it's like and see the new Super Battle Droids. But I'm waiting until, like, a moment where I'm like, hey, I'm with my family, I'm with my friends, and we're all about to, like, just build Lego. Like, having memories attached to sets is actually a really cool thing that I've experienced with my collection and that I always encourage others to do.
All right, well, that's it for episode 1. Maybe it sucked, maybe it didn't. I don't know. I enjoyed doing it, is all I'll say. Hopefully we didn't seem too on our high horse. We probably did, but I don't care.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so this is episode 1. Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.